Hi, Jeff.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm really well, thank you. How are you?
A little bit of a throat infection, but we're getting over it. It's British summertime now, so hopefully I get a bit of sun to kind of cure my ailments.
Yeah, British sunshine during the summer. It's a tall order. Cool. Thank you very much for taking the time out to speak to me today. I really appreciate it. You're obviously the CEO of a very successful organization, which is why I wanted to speak to you and find out about yourself a bit more. So to start off with, tell me a little bit about who you are, your organization, what you guys do, and how it's been going the last couple of weeks.
Cool. So my name is Jeff Hancock. I'm originally from Australia. I moved to the United Kingdom in 2010. My background has always been in IT and cybersecurity, and we started getFIFO in kind of early 2018. When a few of my founders came to me and said, Jeff, where can I buy £100 of Bitcoin in the UK? £4. And at the beginning of 2018, there wasn't that many around. You had to use US dollars or euro, or there were some platforms where the minimum account size was just outrageous. So it kind of came about that we wanted to start a platform that was primarily retail, that was simple to use, that was transparent, it was scalable, and we wouldn't have these other kind of issues like some of the other players in the market.
Wow, awesome. That sounds really interesting. Like getting a currency exchange set up in the UK is a good tall order, especially given how the regulation and everything has been the last few years. That's awesome. So, I mean, as you know, you're the CEO. So, what's been your biggest success as a CEO to date?
Biggest success, I think it's getting recognition that we are actually doing what we say we do, and that's just not a reflection on me. It's a reflection on the brand and the whole team. Our biggest competitor is Coinbase. They're worth $8 billion, and they're in every other country in the world, and they're usually the default name that everyone goes to when it's like, how do I go and buy a Bitcoin for fiat currency? And for those who don't know, I mean, a fiat currency is like a US dollar or a British pound or an Aussie dollar. And there are a few exchanges kind of popping up here and there, either thinking the barrier to entry is super low and it's easy to do, that you can start it up on a shoestring budget, which is completely wrong. The FCA is hunting out there to take care of some of the rogue landlords out there that are not doing legitimate business. But we have an ace in our deck. We've got a super strong management team that are all founders. We're all full time. This is what we do. We live, breathe, crypto every single day. My background in IT, my CTO's background in network engineering and product, and our COO, who's been FCA regulated in financial services 25 years. So he's seen there, been there, done it, bought the t-shirt. And I think once we had that kind of team there and we had a little bit of track record, people are like, okay, maybe these guys know what they're doing. I'll give them a try. And as soon as people are willing to try us and take that little bit of a risk, with say like £100, they keep coming back for more because we're the fastest to market. We're super transparent. We're super approachable. You can look us up on the website. You can look us up on Company's House. You can call us up on the phone, and usually one of us will answer it. And it's just about giving that little bit of human touch back. What kind of crypto and blockchain was kind of finding a way to take the human element out of trust. But the whole problem with trust in blockchain is that it takes humans to use it. So we're kind of humanizing that transparency and that value adding by putting ourselves out there a lot.
I really like that. I mean, I've been in the blockchain crypto scene for about 4 or 5 years myself. And you're right. It's always been automation. The ability to pick up the phone and go and say, hi, I need X or I need some help. It just doesn't exist in the industry. So I actually really like that. That's really cool. So, I mean, during this time, you've set up a successful business, you've got that done. My next question was actually going to be, what's your special formula? But I feel like you've already sort of potentially answered it a little bit.
Yeah, the special formula bit, I mean, it can kind of change depending which hat you're wearing, because sometimes, as a CEO position, and we probably can circle back to this later, is you spend about 60 to 70% of your time just listening, taking in that feedback from, your team or from your management, from, if you get big enough, your shareholders and your investors, most importantly, your clients, and channeling that back into your product. And if your product is not constantly improving, then, you are just going to get overtaken by someone else. And we don't have the resources of all of our bigger competitors. But we do have, that, like I said, that super approachable bit where people have sent us, a support ticket because they didn't have my email address or didn't want to do it on Facebook, saying this would be really cool if.
Right.
And sometimes it's already been in the roadmap, and sometimes like, yeah, that is a really cool idea. Let's put that in there.
Mm.
And we keep that up, and we constantly just keep going back for more and going back for more. And like I say, feedback is the breakfast of champions. So I think that's part of our special formula is taking everything in, pushing it through the funnel, and then always finding some sort of improvement and somewhere to learn.
Right. Okay, that's cool. So I mean, during this time, what's the biggest risk you've then taken?
Biggest risk, I think for me personally, I mean, not the business, but me personally was
Yeah.
quitting a job that I didn't really see as a job. So I say my last real job was when I used to work for a real job. I worked for a managed services provider here in the UK. And then when I
Right.
left that, because it just wasn't me anymore. I'd actually fallen out of love with tech. I'd put a lot of my investing aside. I didn't like what I was doing with my life. And then I went contracting because you can't pay the rent with air. You have to use
Of
some sort
course.
of and I got picked up by a very large tech hedge fund called SoftBank, the Vision Fund. They
Yep.
own businesses like Uber, WeWork, Slack, Boston Robotics, all those kind of really cool companies.
Okay.
When I started, there was only 20 people. By the time I left, 14 months later, there was 150 in London,
Wow.
250 in Carlos.
That's huge
We've got
growth.
100 people in Japan. Yeah, it was absolutely insane. So I got
Mm.
kind of given this plate of tech that someone had misconfigured or never labeled or never documented. Say, if you can undo this in 3 months, then you can stay the whole year. So I was getting paid really, really good pay. We had really, really good perks. We're in a really, really nice office in the middle of Mayfair. I had really, really cool colleagues, and there wasn't one person in that firm that wasn't towing the line. You never wanted to be the person that was dragging everyone down because everyone was so good at their job.
Of
And
course.
I fell
Yeah.
back in love with tech, and I finally started enjoying what I did. Enjoying what I did again. And what made it really hard was when I started this. Cool. I want what we've got here inside software. What we've got here inside this office. I want that for myself. I want to have my team just as driven and addicted to the brand
Mm.
and what we're doing as what we've got here. And it's a really, really simple premise: just bring in the right people, treat them really well, give them a few perks, use that constant
Yeah.
feedback approach to keep making better decisions and keep making better products, or for SoftBank's better and better investments. And it's just that kind of constant cycle bit. And I really wanted that for myself. And when I had to choose between going and doing getFIFO full time, even though I wasn't going to be taking a salary for something like 6 months.
Of
That
course.
was,
Yeah.
an extremely difficult decision to make, but it was the right one. I still
Mm.
keep in touch with all my colleagues there. They're super supportive. I've gone back in there and done, a few product demos and a few pitches just to kind of, perfect it a little bit and kind of, learn from the best.
Mm. Yeah.
But they were really kind of super supportive. And if I was in any other environment, like in the past, you say to your boss, "I'm quitting. I'm going to leave." You're kind of met with like quite a lot of hostility. And I was getting
Of
high
course.
fives because A, was doing my own thing, B, it was in fintech, and C, it was in blockchain and crypto, which the Vision didn't have any exposure to. So it was a really, really hard decision to do, and it was a big risk. I was spending my own money and not the business's money for 6-7 months. Living in London is not cheap.
Amazing.
You know,
Amazing.
and it's just one of those things. I mean, I'd give myself a budget, and every single month, on the 20th or the 24th, 21st of the month, I'd have £11 left in my account.
Yeah.
So I would do more walking and more bus rides than tubes because a bus is £1.30 and a tube is £7, and
Yep.
that's literally
Exactly.
what it down to. It's we don't have this big crazy huge money like everyone thinks an exchange does. And it wasn't until we started, building that trust and getting out there all the time and telling people what we did, and it's starting to get to that critical mass,
Mm.
was okay, now I could take the tube. But it was always lots of little wins. It wasn't trying to get to the moon in one 5-minute bar, if you're looking at a trading graph.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it was always, yeah, like I said, that constant feedback, constant improvement, constantly connecting with your team and your environment and your network, is, I think, the only thing that really got me through it.
Amazing. I mean, as a risk, that's huge. It's like it's
Well,
could have been
you,
like
s-
a situation
you,
where
s-
will break everything.
yeah, you say that, right? But at the end of the day, and people would ask me, it's like, well, what if it fails? I'll go get another job. It's not going to kill me. Running out of
Yeah.
money doesn't kill people. Running out of money means you just have to pivot, and you have to find a way to figure out the problem that's at hand. So if you're going to be late on your rent, that will make you really, really freaking hungry to solve the problem.
Hmm.
You'll go and work night work. You'll go and do random jobs online. You'll go out and find other things to do to make money, or you'll take things out of your life that you don't need. You know,
Absolutely.
I sold my my prized possession, my motorcycle,
Right.
to put into the business. I didn't need to sell it, but I was riding it twice a month because I was working at home all the time now. My other co-founders were like, maybe you should stop riding it because of the CEO, and I had to take that on board. And you get through it and you do it because there's always something bigger on the other side.
Of course. You can always get another bike.
You always get another bike. You can always get another job. You can always, survive on beans and toast if you really need to. Putting yourself up against the wall is the only way you can really get outside your comfort zone.
Yeah, awesome. Cool. So, I mean, we're in 2019. It's halfway through the year. What's your one goal that I should do that, not that. What is your one goal for the year that you're looking to achieve now?
One goal for the year. I suppose I'd like to double our user count numbers. We're in the middle of doing something a bit different now, where we're trying to be not just an exchange. We're trying to pivot to be a bit more adoption focused. So we're doing this really, really cool thing, which is like what's called an exchange as a service. So let's say you've got an app, right, and you did an ICO, you've got a token or whatever, and you've got an ecosystem that people want to use and want to engage with. But how do they buy that token? You might give them an airdrop or give them something free, but how do they buy that token? For pounds. So we've got actually two businesses we're building with at the moment, two very, very cool companies in the UK that, we align a lot with their vision. We really like what they're doing. And these are real businesses with, offices and people and etc. So that's it's a high criteria to get into. But what we're doing is essentially giving our fiat on ramp, our KYC and AML, all of our compliance and risk stuff, and then putting that into a super robust agnostic API, and then allowing them to leverage that API to put basically an exchange fiat function inside of their own app, so you never leave their ecosystem. And we signed up two of those in the last 2 months. They're going to bring somewhere between 5,000 and 10,000 users of their own networks into our platform. And if I was to try and get 5,000 or 10,000 users of regular retail money, that would be like easily $500,000 worth of marketing.
Absolutely.
So pivoting a little bit, we still do the bread and butter stuff. It's all, it's nearly basically all automated now. We've got our security checks and everything in between. But I think where we can make a real difference and get out to kind of a real scale is focusing on some of these B2B, real adoption facing sort of applications and these adoption facing kind of networks, and really start building really, really cool relationships and really cool partnerships with them to make their brands better, which obviously makes our brand better as well. So maybe signing on 2 or 3 more of those and doubling our user count would be getting more people in the door. Yeah, just kind of go for growth. We did the hard bit of launching it. We did the second hard bit of surviving while you're launching it, and now we're in the middle of kind of growth and scale.
Nice, awesome. I mean, just to carry on talking about the organization before I want to talk about yourself a little bit. Within your organization, what is it that you're most proud of? Because you're the CEO, you're the head of the organization. But if you take a step back and go, I love that. I'm so proud of that one thing that we've done. What is that?
That's a really good question. What's the one thing I'm probably the most proud of? I don't know if I have a proper answer to that because there's so many things. I mean,
That's okay.
It come down to like a widget on a screen or a cool way to buy or something that's simple, or even just probably some of the feedback we get. I think the feedback we get from some of our clients that's super sincere and from the bottom of the heart, and they really like what we do and we feel a really high connection with them. So I stay up late and I process stuff and respond to emails sometimes at 1 a.m. Because they're there asking me a question and I feel responsible to them. So I suppose what I'm most proud of is probably our feedback from our clients, I would say.
Yeah. Okay. So that sort of gives you the validation that you're doing something good, it's something worthwhile, and people love what you do.
Yeah, and it helps you realign a little bit that there's other things out there bigger than you. Someone spending £100 to learn about Bitcoin and get it in their own little wallet. That sometimes could be a massive achievement for them, and you can be a part of that. I'm sitting on the other end of the screen or the other end of an email, and they think that they're annoying me by asking, how do I do this, 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 and this? Now, there are videos, it's in the FAQ, but they want that human touch, and that's just kind of our little difference. I'd like to continue that as long as possible and get more team members in to kind of replicate what I do and what my team members do. But I'm still hoping that a few years from now, I can pick up the occasional email and the occasional phone and still connect with some of
Get involved.
Yeah.
No, definitely. Sounds good. Okay. That sounds cool. I just want to ask about yourself a little bit now. When you're not running this amazing organization, what do you do?
Well, yeah, what you find when you're a CEO and you're, aiming quite high and putting your back against the wall, your hobbies take a bit of a sidestep. So it turns into networking, and it turns into,
Right.
product development, and it turns into workflows, and, still finding time for your relationships. I've probably got half the social life that I used to. But when I suppose I'm not working, if I can ever probably stop working, I definitely like working out, go to the gym. I've always been a sprinter and a runner.
Yeah.
So anything under kind of
Nice.
10K is all I'm kind of capable of. So 10K and under. I do enjoy poker. So myself and my CTO Paul, we've been playing poker together for about 20 years. And there's a really cool poker club here in London called the Crypto Poker League, and it's run by
Yeah.
a couple of good friends of mine. And we do a once a month at the Hippodrome Casino. So if you're ever into crypto and you're ever into poker whatsoever, and it's a bit of networking, we do it once a month, and it is a lot of fun. Everyone in there is not just investing or trading, but there's
Mhm.
actually real crypto businesses. So it's quite a powerful room when we all kind of get together. I
Amazing.
suppose it's probably that, yeah, probably cooking, crypto, poker, and working out. It's probably about all I
Cooking is a good one.
have
Yeah,
the time
cooking is a
for.
good one, definitely.
Yeah,
Very
I love a cook.
therapeutic, I'm told. I need to learn to cook. I probably can burn cornflakes or something.
Just read the packet. You'll figure it out.
Sounds so simple, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, I just want to go back to work for just a little bit. You hear about people saying you got these, amazingly successful people up at the top. What's their lifestyle? What do they do? What are their habits? And a lot of time people say they all wear the same clothes. Every single day they wear the same outfit. Do you think that's true, that helps them become as successful as they are, that they don't have to think about, hey, I need to put on a different t-shirt today or a different pair of trousers?
Yeah, I've read a few of those kind of articles about, extreme focus and taking decisions out of your life. And
Yeah.
um, I can kind of see where it comes from. I've, got clear out clutter all the time. I sold my
Mm.
motorcycle, took out a lot of those, options out of my life, and etc. And it does help. But going as extreme as wearing the same thing every day, I think some of those kind of articles are a bit crap. I would say that I could probably align with it a little bit, is that I haven't bought any new clothes in like
Mm.
over a year, so my options haven't changed. So therefore, they're still very simple. I
Makes it
have
easy.
I have a bunch of white shirts, which are semi-cash. I have a bunch of black shirts, which are for going to the casino, and
Yep.
I have a bunch of V-necks when I'm sitting at home. So I suppose in that same thing, yeah, I'm always comfortable. I'm always me. I don't try and
Mm.
dress outside of my personality or outside of my own style. But at the same thing, there's the whole idea of faking it till you make it, and following those kind of trends is just not true. You just have to be yourself, and if it takes you 20 minutes to get ready in the morning, then just get up 20 minutes earlier.
Right, right. That makes sense. That's good. I think I'm glad you said that, because a lot of people I speak to always say, yeah, absolutely, wear the same shirt every day. And I always
You
question it.
kind of
They're
you
kind
kind
of
of
really going to
copying
make any
someone.
difference.
Yeah, you're kind of copying someone else's mantra at that point. I mean, yeah, if it
Yeah.
works for Zuckerberg, then great. If it works for all the other guys that are super successful, that might be their 9 to 5 gig. But yeah, I mean, they have the rest of their wardrobe for every other
Exactly.
night that they or event they're at, or when they
Mm.
go skiing. It's yeah. I think you should take some of those kind of things with a bit of a pinch of salt. Same thing as
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
super successful people get up at 5 in the morning. You won't find me dead getting it. No, not a chance. No, I'll get up at 7 and I'll hit the gym and I'll be at my desk by 9, but you'll
Yeah.
never find me awake at 5 a.m. So you just need
Right.
to find a flow that works for you. And a flow that works for me is that I do the best work between 6 p.m. and midnight. And my founders know that as well. So
Perfect.
if I turn up to work at lunchtime, they know that I'm working through to midnight.
So I think you're right, because you're talking about what works for you, and that's what everyone needs to go out there and do. Find
Yeah.
out what works for them. Cool.
Now, if you're still in full time work, don't do the lunchtime thing. It's not. You
As
have
a
to become an
successful
entrepreneur.
CEO.
You have to
Exactly.
become an entrepreneur real quick if you still have a job and you turn up at lunch.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay. Final point, and then I'm going to let you get back to your busy day. There's kids out there today who are going to hopefully watch this and say, hey, I want to be a successful CEO. If there's one bit of advice that you can give to the kids that are going to become aspiring CEOs or become CEOs of tomorrow, what would you say to them today?
What would I say to them today? Don't be afraid of taking chances. Don't be afraid of risk. Don't be afraid of people telling that you're wrong. and always focus on something that is impossible to do by yourself. If you aim for something that you can achieve and you can do, and that's great, you can be a solopreneur, you can be very, very successful. If you want to do that next level bit, and I would actually, you know what, I'd probably suggest doing something like that first. So go and be, say, if you're an IT guy like me, go and be a contractor. Learn how to kind of run your own little business when it's just you, because there's nothing more stressful than having, 150 quid in the bank and you've got payroll in 4 days, and you've got to pay 3 developers, their salary. There's nothing more scary than that. I
Yeah.
didn't sleep for 2 days scrounging up extra cash. This is way, way, way before we launched, but I didn't want to even seed any of those other people that we couldn't deliver what we were doing.
Mm.
So you want to get to that next level is doing something for yourself first, having a little side hustle, whether it's an online store, contracting, whatever, kind of dip your toe and be ultimately responsible for your time and your money, and grow it and scale it. And as soon as you can do it by yourself and you feel, okay, cool, I could delegate to someone else, you can grow that business out, or you can start something brand new. There are hundreds of ways to get involved with other startups, that are very small, that, might be a really, really great idea in January and they're out of business by March. But,
Yeah.
that's a lot of businesses are destined to fail that way. So thinking bigger than what you can do by yourself and relying on a team and relying on careful delegation, relying on making the right decision and taking all of the right information in. That's the kind of the trigger from going to doing something by yourself to doing something bigger with a bigger team.
Yeah.
And if you can do that in just one aspect of your life, you'll be surprised how much of that can kind of filter over from, doing joint ventures, from raising finance, from, getting really, really good team members into your team. It might feel like bluffing some of the time, but when you
Mm.
know you're on, the right trajectory and the rest of your team will pick up the slack because you are who you are and you do what you do, that's something you can take a lot of pride in.
Amazing. Nice. Cool. Well, that was really cool. Thank you, Jeff. If people want to get in touch with you, if they want to speak to you, or if they want to find out more about your business, where should they go?
So you can go to our website firstly, which is www.getFIFO.io. You can find me on kind of LinkedIn or Twitter or any of those kind of ones as well. If you've ever got a question, you want to connect, you have a really cool idea, you're new to crypto and want to get into it, and there's no stupid questions. So feel free to reach out, and either myself or anyone on my team will love to help.
Cool, guys. What I'll do is I'll put all those links and everything at the bottom in the comments section. And Jeff, thank you very much for your time. It was fantastic speaking to you, and I'll let you get back to your day.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Take care. Bye-bye.